All right, so over the weekend, this Drake slash The Weeknd AI allegedly generated song went viral. And I think as of right now, it's generated something like 600,000 plays on Spotify alone. The label, the major label, Universal, has been desperately trying to get this thing off the internet, which is a near impossible task in itself. And Universal's not the only one pissed, right? So we know Drake is pretty pissed, and we're going to talk about this as far as what's going on with the AI.
Yeah, no, this is crazy because we've heard, AI generated kind of songs and they're just kind of, kind of funky or whatever. They don't sound really that good. But I got to tell you that this Heart on My Sleeve song is pretty good. It was done by this guy, Ghostwriter. He had I guess he just got the AI generated. I don't know if he generated both the lyrics and the voice or if he generated, or together. But I believe the music is his, but it's just the actual vocals.
It's pretty crazy. And we've been talking about as, some artists and producers are playing around with this kind of, tongue in cheek and putting it in and, just because you can. And it's really incredible, but it's also kind of scary. So now we have a question of just general enforceability, right? Copyright, publicity issues, right? That isn't actually Drake or The
Right.
Weeknd, and now ownership issues, right? So the Universal wants to make sure it's protecting its assets, meaning the music that it owns, and so it's pretty pissed that this is now happening and it's having a really hard time monitoring. I think it was able to pull the song from
Yep.
streaming on music platforms, but it's kind of the wild, wild west when it comes to like
It's
TikTok and
crazy. YouTube is where it is, and it's funny because it keeps getting because this broke a few days ago, but it just keeps going. So they pulled it from streaming, but it's up on YouTube and it keeps getting reloaded every day. So this 600,000 plays on Spotify, that's nothing compared to what it's getting on YouTube from the multiple versions that constantly get uploaded by other people. So
mm,
it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And I kind of went down a little bit of the rabbit hole with some of this stuff. I heard this crazy version of Hey Delilah done by an
mhm.
AI version of Kanye West, and it sounds like Kanye West is singing Hey Delilah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And these things are just they're everywhere right now.
Right. Yeah, and you guys should absolutely check that out because it really does sound just like him. And so, when people are doing this kind of tongue in cheek and they're saying that they're just using AI generation, platforms to make it, that's one thing. But now you have people who are just releasing it, and so now we're getting to like deep fake zone, right? We're getting into where someone is going to create confusion besides the fact that they don't have the right to do it because when you're using, right, someone else's likeness, if you're using their voice without their permission or creating something that sounds like it, now you're getting into violation of publicity rights. But I think the bigger question here is just about copyright. Who owns it?
The thing of it is just how good the technology has gotten in such a short amount of time. And, you know, if that song is that good right now, and even Oasis had the band Oasis, there was an AI album that was released. They did it under the name like Oasis or something like this, Oasis instead of Oasis. And even I believe like Liam Gallagher even said like it sounded pretty mega or whatever it was. Like he liked it, like it sounded like because they played the artist, the band played the music in the style of 90s Oasis, and
Hmm.
then they generated, Liam's voice and made Oasis records. It's just happening everywhere and it's just gonna get better, and I'm terrified.
So Jen asks, did this person Ghostwriter, and it's like Ghostwriter 924, what that's his username on TikTok, um, say that it was AI or no?
Yeah, so it was I believe he made the beat, but the everything else I believe was AI generated. But
Yeah.
it's not doing AI is not is not I don't believe it's composing full songs with lyrics and melodies yet. Like you still have to enter in some stuff and you still have to be there's still a human element right now. But I mean,
Yeah,
these
so
things are
then back
crazy.
to the copyright question. So in order to have copyright protection, it has to have been created by a human, and there has to be at least a minimal amount of creativity that went into it. All right, so that's why we don't have copyright for things like, songs of movies, typically, or I'm sorry, titles of songs. So if it's like Love Story, by Taylor Swift, she doesn't actually have copyright in that title, okay? Because it requires a minimal amount of creativity. So in any case, we look at this and we go, all right, so if a human put in the requirements and said, I want a panda mixed with Bjork, mixed with spiders, and then it generates, let's say, an image. Well, does that person have copyright in what was generated? Because the human created it, right? Put in those requirements for the AI to generate. So then, the question is, should they have copyright in that? As I understand it right now, there is an argument that that would be enough to allow someone to claim that they would have copyright in what was generated. But on the other side of this, the answer would be no as well, right? Because if we're using other people's images, which is what a lot of these platforms do, from what I understand, they're pulling from things that they've seen.
Right.
So, they're using other people's works to create the new thing.
To
So,
yeah, the inspiration for it. And I mean, it's crazy because you can just go get sucked down the rabbit hole of all that stuff and what it means. But I think that you're gonna find sooner rather than later more groups advocating for humans. I think you're going to see more just cases of this because it's too accessible. The internet is already so open and crazy with people can get away with on TikTok and Instagram and all these things. Like, it's almost like I don't even care if my music gets released on Spotify or anything, because it doesn't even matter. If I get a million plays of my song on TikTok and on Instagram, what do I really care if it's on Spotify if I'm not trying to necessarily make money? Well, I just got all those views in. I might get a job from some of these real artists to collab, because if I made the beat for it, it still went viral. Like, it's kind of crazy. It's like, cool, so don't give me my $4.50 from my streams on Spotify. I'm good then. Like, I think it's they need to figure out something to handle this before it gets out of hand.
Universal and others are also taking the position of the ethical, right? So the ethical obligation that platforms like TikTok and Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, that they have to monitor and prevent this stuff from happening, right? Because it's violating their rights. And I just, part of me kind of laughs at that, because I go, okay, so then what about people mixing songs together? They're not allowed to do that, right? That's sampling. And to the extent that we care so much about we're not really protecting the people who matter, which are the artists, right? Which are the actual creators. But now the big boys are coming in, the big corporation, record labels and all that, and being like, no, this is absolutely outrageous. We should be protected. And I bet they will get something done. I bet that they will be able to get some legislation and all the things that need to happen to catch up. Now, I see
but
some
all
questions.
that's going to do, well, I have a question for you. So if they get some legislation, but all that's going to do is maybe telling them that they have to make it more clear. Like, when you buy a product in the grocery store, it has a nutritional label and it tells you everything that's in it. You might have to have something where it says that, because what are you going to really do to stop it? It's here. AI is here. It's not going to go away. It's like the internet. People were scared of the internet, and it's here. It's a fact. It's like Metallica tried to stop Napster. You're not going to stop like AI. You're not going to stop the people doing this and using it to their advantage to whatever. And you're the way that you see cashiers at grocery stores and at your local McDonald's going away because of touch kiosks or self-service things. You're going to see more replacement from AI because it's just too good. It's just too easy, and it saves companies too much money.
Yeah, and I think that it's fair to point out why we should be concerned, but also, to embrace. I think that everything that has provided comfort or ease, efficiency, has been probably met with a lot of fear, because there's always two ways to look at everything. But when you're looking at, the benefits that this has and the opportunity that this has, it's hard to ignore that, or to say that we shouldn't otherwise explore, because it's happening anyway.
I think the biggest fear would be for me is it's not the creative stuff is absolutely there, but I mean, if you just take the arts out of it, which is one of the most important things to us as humans, is our art and our culture and our different stuff like that, is false information. Because you just have AI now, just writing whole scripts writing whole articles, writing information that gets, disseminated into the public. So basically, you're just news. It's like, how do you know what to? I mean, it's already hard enough to figure out what publications you're gonna learn from or accept. But I mean, as far as, you're just going to have computers basically telling you history, and, people are just looking for clicks. And at some point, it's just going to get more and more distorted. So I think that's more of the danger, is the dilution of information and the changing it based on convenience and flooding everything because
Yeah, and
everybody's just
so
using
and
AI.
so what typically is going to happen, right, when there's enough of a concern or a threat is that there's going to be involvement regulations. I mean, government's going to butt in, right? Or,
But then you
for
got to prove
example, the
it.
record labels are going to say this is what we need to ensure that these privately owned companies are not violating our rights. So,
It's
that's
easier with art, but not with information, I think. Like with art and stuff, you can
yeah.
go, that guy literally took my style. That's Drake's voice. You know what I mean? But when it comes to information and text and articles and things that happen, like, I think that's where it gets a little different.
Yeah. So last point, let me answer this. So wouldn't it be stealing someone's likeness? And that's exactly it. Okay. So when you are, creating something, even, and I got this question about like a cartoon. Well, what if I make a cartoon character of Britney Spears? Well, whether she knows about it, it's her voice, you used it or not, or you had someone else come and do the voice for the cartoon character, she can still sue your pants off because she didn't consent to it and it's literally her likeness. Okay, so in the same kind of way with AI generated stuff, if Ghostwriter is putting out this song that he created AI or using AI generated vocals, then it's still an infringement of Drake's and The Weeknd's likeness, and they can sue his pants off. So, Ghostwriter, watch yourself.